The flickering hologram of Admiral Chen stood like a ghost in the council chamber, her face a mask of defiance. Behind her, the assembled representatives of over 1,000 alien civilizations shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their various appendages fidgeting with ceremonial robes and translation devices. The massive chamber, carved from a single asteroid, had witnessed 10,000 years of galactic politics. But never this. Humanity rejects the Council's ultimatum, Chen announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of her words. We will not surrender our autonomy or our right to explore the quantum dimension. The Galactic Accord is fundamentally flawed, and Earth's representatives will no longer be bound by its restrictions. A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. The HFY representative, all 8 eyes widening, tapped his ceremonial staff against the polished floor. This is unprecedented. No species has ever willingly withdrawn from the Galactic Council since its founding. They never understood us. Not really. The Council had welcomed humanity with open arms, or tentacles, or whatever appendages they possessed, when our first warp ships ventured beyond Sol. We were the newcomers, the upstarts, eager to learn from the ancient spacefaring races. But as decades passed, that initial welcome cooled to suspicion, then to fear. Our progress was too rapid, our questions too probing, our ambitions too vast. While other species developed slowly over millennia, humans mastered technologies in mere generations that had taken others centuries. We didn't know our place, they whispered. We didn't respect the natural order. The Council has existed for 40,000 years, rumbled the Setheri ambassador, his crystalline body refracting light across the chamber. We have maintained peace through careful balance. Your species has been among us for barely 2 centuries, yet you presume to reject our collective wisdom. Admiral Chen's hologram smiled, not with warmth, but with determination. The Council was founded on principles of mutual cooperation and respect. Those principles have been corrupted. When you demanded access to our quantum research while offering nothing in return, you revealed your true intentions. The recording pauses here, this famous moment preserved in every history archive across settled space. What followed would change the course of galactic civilization forever. No one expected what happened next. Not the Council, certainly not humanity itself. Our withdrawal was meant to be a political statement, a negotiating tactic. We never intended to trigger the collapse. The Proxima incident came 3 days later. As the last human ships departed Council space, strange energy readings appeared at the galactic core. Ancient systems, maintained for millennia by the elder races, began failing one by one. Security protocols no one remembered creating suddenly activated, demanding human authorization codes that no longer existed. We built the Council chambers, whispered the ancient Kuleri archivist, breaking 10,000 years of silence. But we didn't build the systems beneath them. They'd been using our technology all along, technology left behind by the first humans who had seeded the galaxy long before recorded history, technology that recognized our genetic signature as its rightful inheritors. And now, we were leaving, taking our keys to the kingdom with us. The universe trembled that day, not because humans left the Galactic Council, but because in doing so, we finally discovered who we truly were. Few understood the full implications of what the Kuleri archivist revealed. The Council chambers erupted into chaos. Delegates shouting accusations, demanding explanations, some even fleeing toward their ships. The HFY representative collapsed into a convulsing heap, his neural network overwhelmed by the revelation. Our exodus began in earnest then. Within 48 hours, every human vessel, research station, and colony within Council space initiated departure protocols. It wasn't coordinated, not officially, but some primal instinct seemed to drive us all toward the same conclusion. Get out, get away, return to Earth-controlled territories. I was just a junior diplomat then, working under Ambassador Katri at the Arcturus Embassy. I remember watching the Council broadcasts with growing unease as systems continued failing across governed space. FTL communications flickered and died. Automated defense platforms went dark. Ancient transportation networks that had functioned flawlessly for millennia simply stopped. "They're blaming us for everything," Chaktri said, her eyes fixed on the emergency bulletins streaming across her desk interface. "As if we planned this." She looked up at me, expression grim. "Liu, delete everything. All our diplomatic files, research, everything. We leave nothing behind." We weren't the only ones. Across 27 star systems, humans were becoming personas non grata overnight. Those who couldn't reach evacuation ships faced growing hostility from local populations. On Centauri Prime, human residents barricaded themselves in their district as protests turned violent outside. What nobody realized then was that the systems weren't failing randomly. They were transforming, awakening, responding to humanity's departure like plants turning toward absent sunlight. The second exodus, they call it now. The greatest migration in human history. Thousands of ships forming improvised convoys, racing across space toward Earth-controlled territories, while behind us, the stable political order of 40 millennia unraveled like a cheap sweater. 3 weeks later, as the last refugee ships limped into Sol's system, Earth received the transmission, a message broadcast simultaneously to every human communication device across settled space. I was on the diplomatic cruiser Harmony when it came through, the strange symbols flashing across every screen before resolving into words. Inheritors confirmed. Genetic continuity established. Reclamation protocol initiated. Then came the coordinates. Thousands of them, pinpointing locations scattered throughout Council space and beyond, places no human had ever visited. Ancient sites, hidden facilities, forgotten outposts of the first humans. Our ancestors hadn't just visited the stars before recorded history. They had ruled them. The data download that followed nearly crashed Earth's network infrastructure, technical schematics, historical archives, star maps of uncharted regions, knowledge buried for hundreds of thousands of years, preserved in systems so advanced they had been mistaken for natural phenomena. "We need to go back," Director Okafor announced during the emergency summit at Luna Command. "These coordinates, these facilities, they're our heritage, our birthright." Admiral Chen, now physically present instead of a hologram, stood slowly. The chamber fell silent. "The Council races will be desperate now," she said quietly. "Their infrastructure is collapsing. They'll be looking for someone to blame." Her eyes swept the gathered leaders. "If we return, it won't be as supplicants or allies. It will be as targets." The Admiral's aide whispered something in her ear. Her expression hardened. "We're receiving a transmission from Proxima Centauri," she announced. "The Council has called an emergency session. They're invoking the extinction protocols." The room fell completely silent. We all knew what that meant. The galaxy was declaring war on humanity. The extinction protocols had been theoretical until that moment, a set of emergency measures designed to contain existential threats to galactic civilization. No one had ever triggered them in the Council's 40,000-year history. They were the nuclear option, meant to unite all spacefaring races against a common enemy. And now, that enemy was us. "They can't be serious," whispered Chaktri, her face ashen as we watched the emergency broadcast. "The protocols authorize unrestricted warfare, planetary bombardment, even targeted stellar manipulation." Liu nodded grimly. "They'll destroy human worlds if they have to. They're terrified." Earth's response was swift and decisive. Within hours of the Council's declaration, military vessels throughout human space were mobilizing. Civilian ships were commandeered for evacuation efforts. Defense platforms around every human settlement powered up ancient defensive systems that, until weeks ago, no one had known existed. Meanwhile, a smaller secret mission was already underway. The scout ship Pathfinder, with a crew of just 12 specialists, had slipped away from Luna during the emergency summit. Their mission: investigate the first set of coordinates from the mysterious data download. Commander Devi Rao had never wanted this assignment. As the Pathfinder's engines pushed them toward the edge of human space, she studied the star charts with growing unease. "This can't be right," she muttered, comparing the ancient maps to modern ones. "According to these coordinates, we're heading to the void." The void, an enormous region of space, seemingly devoid of stars, planets, or any detectable matter. Conventional wisdom held that it was a quirk of cosmic geography, perhaps the aftermath of ancient supernova chains. But according to the first human data, it was something else entirely. A hiding place. Back on Earth, the situation was deteriorating rapidly. Council intelligence agents, long embedded in human settlements, had begun sabotage operations. 3 fusion plants on Mars mysteriously went offline. A water purification center on Europa exploded. And in orbit above Earth, the defense grid detected and destroyed 3 stealth vessels of unknown origin attempting to approach the planet. "We need those ancient technologies," Director Okafor insisted during the crisis meeting. "Whatever our ancestors built out there could be the difference between survival and extinction." Admiral Chen disagreed. "We can't abandon our established colonies to chase ghosts. The Council fleet will be here within weeks. We need every ship, every soldier defending what we already have." The debate raged on, splitting Earth's leadership into 2 factions: those who wanted to consolidate and defend existing territory, and those who believed salvation lay in reclaiming humanity's forgotten legacy. Meanwhile, ordinary people simply tried to survive as the war preparations transformed daily life. On distant Tav City IV, the human mining colony received the news differently. Isolated for generations, they'd developed their own distinct culture, one that had always maintained closer ties with neighboring alien settlements than with Earth. "This isn't our fight," colony leader Wei told the gathered townspeople. "We've lived alongside the Mur and Talaviks for 3 generations. They're our neighbors, our friends." But as he spoke, orbital sensors detected incoming ships, Council enforcement vessels, approaching with weapons hot. Friendship, it seemed, wouldn't save them. Aboard the Pathfinder, Commander Rao's team prepared to enter the void. Their long-range scans had detected something impossible: energy signatures emanating from what should have been empty space. "It's some kind of cloaking field," explained Dr. Osai, the team's physicist. "Massive, planet-sized at least, possibly the most advanced stealth technology ever conceived." As the Pathfinder crossed the threshold into the void, their instruments went haywire. For terrifying moments, the ship seemed to occupy multiple positions simultaneously. A quantum superposition made manifest. Then, suddenly, reality snapped back into focus. And they saw it. Not a planet, not a station. Something far more significant. "Mother of God," whispered Rao, staring at the view screen. "It's a Dyson sphere. An entire star, hidden." The structure was enormous beyond comprehension, a complete shell surrounding a captured star, its inner surface equivalent to billions of Earth's landmass, and according to their sensors, it was inhabited. Before they could report their discovery, a transmission broke through their communications system, not from Earth, but from the sphere itself. "Genetic authentication accepted," announced an eerily human voice. "Welcome home, children of Terra. The reclamation has begun." At that same moment, across the galaxy, in the heart of Council space, on the ancient homeworld of the Setheri, something unexpected occurred. Deep beneath the crystal spires of their capital, in vaults sealed for millennia, machines of unknown design suddenly activated. And on 1,000 worlds, across 1,000 species, the same thing happened. Hidden systems, dormant for ages beyond memory, awakening all at once. The universe wasn't just trembling now. It was transforming. The Dyson Sphere's AI, calling itself Guardian, shared revelations that shook Commander Rao's team to their core. The first humans hadn't gone extinct. They had gone into hiding, seeding younger civilizations across the galaxy while concealing their most advanced technologies and largest populations in hidden enclaves like this one. Why? Railhead asked, standing before the holographic interface that towered above her. Why abandon your empire? The Guardian's expression, a stylized human face composed of shifting light patterns, showed something like regret. The Harbingers. When they came from intergalactic space, our civilization was unprepared. Rather than face extinction, we enacted the preservation protocol, hiding our achievements while ensuring our genetic legacy would continue through new human civilizations, ones that might evolve differently enough to survive what we could not. Back in Sol system, the first wave of Council forces arrived. Not the overwhelming armada they had feared, but advanced scouting parties testing Earth's defenses. The skirmishes were brief but revealing. Human ships equipped with hastily integrated ancient technology from the data downloads easily outmatched the Council vessels. They're holding back, Admiral Chen warned the Defense Council. These aren't their primary forces. They're probing us, learning our capabilities. She was right. Intelligence reports confirmed that the main Council armada was gathering at Procyon, nearly 100 ships strong, dreadnoughts, carriers, siege platforms capable of cracking a planet's crust, all converging, preparing for a coordinated assault on humanity's homeworld. What the Council didn't realize was that their communications were no longer secure. As ancient systems throughout their territory continued activating, humans gained unprecedented access to their strategic planning. We could hear them planning our extinction. On Tav City IV, the colony's situation had become dire. Council enforcement vessels had blockaded the system, cutting off supplies. Colony leader Wei faced an impossible choice: surrender to Council authorities who now viewed all humans as existential threats, or resist and face certain destruction. The answer came unexpectedly. As food supplies dwindled, the neighboring Mer settlements broke the blockade under cover of darkness, smuggling supplies to their human neighbors. Not all Council races supported the extinction protocols. Some remembered longer histories, older alliances. The Pathfinder's discovery changed everything. The Dyson Sphere, one of 7 scattered throughout the galaxy, housed billions of humans in suspension, waiting for the signal that it was safe to return. More importantly, it contained military technology beyond anything the Council races could imagine. But Commander Rayo faced a moral dilemma. Awakening this sleeping giant would mean igniting a war unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The first humans went into hiding for a reason, argued Dr. Ose. These Harbingers, whatever they are, they were terrible enough to make our ancestors abandon everything they built. Are we ready to face that threat? Rayo stared at the activation protocols displayed before her. Maybe we don't have a choice anymore. The Council has already declared war on us. She made her decision. The awakening began. Back on Earth, Director Okafor received the Pathfinder's transmission, just as the defense grid detected massive energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. The Council armada had arrived sooner than expected, bypassing the Procyon staging area entirely. They know about the Dyson Sphere, Lou realized, watching the tactical displays. They're accelerating their timetable. The battle for Earth began with a barrage that lit up the sky even in daylight. Defense platforms collapsed under concentrated fire. The outer colonies on Ganymede and Callisto fell silent. Earth's defensive fleet, though enhanced with recovered technology, was outnumbered 5-1. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiance, watching as her forces engaged the Council armada. "Hold the line," she ordered. "The Pathfinder says reinforcements are coming. We just need time." Across human space, the ancient facilities at the mysterious coordinates began activating simultaneously. On forgotten moons and abandoned planets, massive hangars opened, revealing sleek vessels that rose automatically into orbit. Ships without crews, guided by AI systems long dormant, accelerating toward Earth with impossible speed. In Council space, the crisis deepened. The activated machines beneath their worlds weren't just communication systems. They were something far more concerning. On the Sethari homeworld, vast sections of the planet's crust began shifting, revealing structures that had been hidden for millennia. "It's inside our planets," the Hadrax representative reported frantically to the emergency council session. "The first human technology, it's embedded in our worlds, has been all along." The Quillari archivist, silent for so long, finally spoke again. "We built upon their foundations, used their worlds, their systems. They allowed it, directed it even, through subtle influence across thousands of years. We thought we were building our own civilization, but we were following their blueprint. As the battle for Earth reached its most desperate hour, with Council forces breaking through the last defensive lines, Admiral Chen received an unexpected transmission, not from the Pathfinder or any known human source, but from within the Council Armada itself. "This is Sentinel Valara of the Mer Defense Force," came the alien voice. "We are breaking formation. The extinction protocols violate the founding principles of the Council. We stand with humanity." Other ships followed. Not many, but enough to create confusion in the Council formations. The Mer, the Talaviks, even a contingent of Setheri vessels peeled away from the attack force, positioning themselves alongside human defenders. Then space itself seemed to tear open as hundreds of sleek, obsidian vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel, the automated fleet of the first humans, responding to the awakening. In the Dyson sphere, Commander Rao watched as stasis chambers began the revival process. The first of the ancients would awaken within hours. But before that could happen, Guardian's interface suddenly fragmented, its expression changing to one of terror. "Long-range sensors activated," it announced. "Harbinger signatures detected at the galactic edge. They found us. They're coming." The war for humanity's place in the Council had just become something far more significant. A war for survival against something that had frightened even the godlike first humans into hiding. The next 72 hours would redefine galactic history forever. As the Harbinger fleet approached from the galactic rim, the fractured forces, human and Council alike, faced an impossible choice: continue their civil war or unite against extinction. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the Defiance, surveying the battered remains of Earth's defense force, now bolstered by first human vessels and Council defectors. "Open a channel to the remaining Council ships," she ordered. "All frequencies, all languages." Her message was simple. We have a common enemy now, one that drove even the first humans into hiding. Whatever grievances exist between us, they mean nothing if we all cease to exist. In the Council headquarters, now partly evacuated as the ancient machinery continued to transform their worlds, the remaining representatives faced the truth they had feared since humans first appeared in their space. The galaxy had never truly belonged to them. They had been caretakers, unknowing stewards of a civilization in hibernation. "We accept your proposal," the Setheri ambassador transmitted after a tense deliberation. A temporary alliance against the Harbinger threat. Temporary became permanent in the crucible of what followed. The Harbingers, massive entities of hybrid organic-mechanical composition, attacked with singular purpose, targeting the awakening Dyson spheres with terrible precision. They were extinction incarnate, machines built for a single purpose: the eradication of specific genetic patterns, specifically human genetic patterns. Commander Rao watched in horror as the first revived first humans interfaced directly with Guardian. "They're not just invaders," explained a woman who had been in stasis for over 100,000 years. "They're our creation, weapons we built during our ancient wars, designed to target enemy genetics. When the wars ended, they evolved, developed autonomy, and turned against their creators." The battle raged across multiple fronts as more Dyson spheres activated. The Council races, with their diverse technologies and strategies, proved crucial in defending sectors where human forces couldn't reach. The Tav City colony, once facing starvation under blockade, became a critical supply and medical hub for damaged vessels of all species. Colony leader Wei, working alongside Mer engineers, developed hybrid shield systems that better defended against Harbinger weapons. "We've lived together for generations," he told the combined crews. That's not weakness. It's our strength. In the end, it wasn't superior firepower that turned the tide. It was understanding. Dr. Osei, working with the awakened first humans and scientists from 17 council species, discovered the fundamental flaw in the Harbinger's programming. Their targeting system could be confounded by genetic diversity. The more intermixed the genetic patterns they encountered, the more their weapon systems struggled to acquire targets. The solution was elegant in its simplicity. Volunteer crews, mixed teams of humans, and various council races flew directly into Harbinger formations, broadcasting amplified genetic readings. The confusion created openings for the main fleet to exploit. When the final Harbinger fell, the galaxy was silent for a long moment. Then, across all channels, in all languages, celebration erupted. Species that had been enemies days before embraced as allies. 1 month later, in the rebuilt council chambers, Admiral Chen and representatives from every known spacefaring race signed the new Galactic Charter. The first humans, represented by their awakened leaders, took a seat at the table, not as rulers reclaiming their empire, but as equals. The universe trembled the day humans left the Galactic Council, Chen said in her address. But it wasn't from fear. It was making room for something new to be born. A true alliance of all peoples, founded not on ancient hierarchies or hidden technologies, but on the simple truth that we are stronger together than apart. Liu, no longer a junior diplomat but Earth's new ambassador, looked out at the assembled representatives and smiled. The stars no longer seemed cold and distant. They were home, for all of us, together.